I'm Big Mike, and like always, I'd like to thank you for being here today. Today we've got Raymond Day from NinjaTrader for another very special presentation as part of our BMT 4-year anniversary. All month long, we've had about 16 webinars on special topics that also have some very special prizes to be given away. In this webinar, in fact, NinjaTrader is giving away 4 multi-broker licenses, annual licenses for NinjaTrader, and 4 multi-broker quarterly license for NinjaTrader, as well as some hats and some t-shirts. So what we're going to do is first turn things over to Ray for the presentation, then we'll do a general Q&A, and then once that's done, we'll take care of the questions. I do want to also congratulate Ray and NinjaTrader for their 10-year anniversary. And actually, they've got something special planned tonight, so Ray has asked for a hard stop at 90 minutes, so we'll need to keep a close eye on the clock. Very quickly, I want to remind everybody that the webinar is being recorded, and I'll post the recording on YouTube sometime tomorrow. Give us a thumbs up if you like it. So real quick, the bullet points today is just a general NinjaTrader 8 preview. There's also been 3 prior webinars on this subject that you should check out if you haven't seen them. Specifically, he's going to talk about the NinjaTrader mobile platform, the new platform for that, the basic entry trading window, the new SuperDOM, and whatever else we can fit into it. All right, guys, give me 1 second. I'm going to turn things over to Ray. Okay, Ray?
Through?
Yep, we can hear you.
Okay, great. And next thing, I just turned on the show my screen. I assume that's coming through as well?
Yes, we see Ninja app and then part of the NinjaTrader window, but it looks like it's hidden behind the GoToWebinar stuff.
Got it, okay. And just curious, Mike, I know it's Friday, afternoon, everybody's getting ready for the weekend. How many people do we have with us today?
Yeah, I was talking about this earlier on BMT. So normally there's, 300, 400 people in the webinars. All month long, the attendance has been lower than usual, and I think that's just a seasonality thing with June that I'll try to remember for next year when we do all these events. So I think there was about 250 registrations for this webinar, but only about 100 people here right now. So you guys got a pretty good chance to win some prizes today.
Yeah, I guess, 16 out of 100, or 16 out of 100. Yeah. So 16 of you hang around. Actually might pick something up. So as Mike said, first of all, congratulations to you, Mike, for your 4-year anniversary. And as Mike said, it's 10 years, literally almost to the day. We released NinjaTrader version 1 in early July of 2003. And we just moved into some new offices here 2 weeks ago. So this evening, actually at 6 o'clock Mountain Time, so 3 hours from now, we've got our 10-year anniversary / new office open house for all friends and family, and that's why I asked for a hard stop. And I don't think we'll probably need that, since the reason I asked for this stuff is usually there's 200-300 people in here and the questions don't stop. So anyways, what I'm going to do is allocate at least a half hour at the end to make sure that we do get through the prizes, since Mike had asked me to come up with some questions, some pretty short answered questions, which I will ask in which you need to answer correctly in order to win these things. And I'll give you a little bit of heads up. Some of the questions will be based off of what's discussed here today, and some of the questions will be completely unrelated. Could have been something about NinjaTrader on our website, or just something about the market. So, Mike, I see something here about this limit reached.
Yeah, don't worry about that. I don't know why it started doing that. It's only for webcams, which we don't use.
Okay, no problem. I'll hit that close on that. Okay, so the way I normally like to run these sessions, I talk a little bit, open it up for some questions specific to the topic that was just discussed. That way it just kind of keeps things on track. I'm definitely open to answering general questions, whether that's NinjaTrader 8 specific or anything else for that matter. But I'll ask you to hold off on those questions until later in the presentation. And Mike Mike always does a good job at keeping the questions on track. So I think what I'll start with is talking about NinjaTrader Mobile. Now, what you see on the screen right now is NinjaTrader running on my desktop, and it's connected just to the simulated data feed. And on the left-hand side, you see literally a browser application. And what we've been doing is kind of experimenting with HTML5, which is what we're using and what we decided to use for creating a mobile app. And mobile is kind of really probably the incorrect term to use. It's really an HTML5 web app that can be used on your phone, in a browser on your phone, can be used on a tablet, can be used in your browser just like I'm doing right now. The basic idea, though, is no different than what you would expect from a mobile device. The idea is simply that we want to provide you the ability to access your NinjaTrader desktop remotely, so that, good example would be you've got some open positions running, you've got NinjaTrader running on your desktop, you head out for lunch, you've got your phone with you, you can quickly punch up the Ninja app through a web browser on your phone and see what you're seeing right now. And I should actually say that what you're seeing right now could completely change in terms of look and feel, and I should actually say it's going to completely change in terms of look and feel, but we're using off-the-shelf UI libraries right now just to kind of get the visuals up and running, but the real work is actually the communications, kind of the lower level stuff that you don't see. But just to kind of give you an idea of how it would work, the idea is simply that in NinjaTrader you would have an area that you would punch in, for example, a username, some unique ID that would identify your desktop to your mobile through a proxy server, so through a central server that will route the communications between your desktop and wherever you happen to be. And so once you configure that, so you would configure that on your desktop, you would then do the same thing on the mobile app. So if I click on settings, you'd see something similar to this, where you'd see, your host ID, username, password. You punch that stuff in, and the two will find each other, and you'll start seeing information flow to your remote location, all being served up from your NinjaTrader desktop. And the basics, of course, are going to be sent through. So, for example, I can click on orders. You don't see anything there right now, but it would look no different than if I pull up. Let me just do this real quick. Pull up an order ticket here, and there we go. So it would look something like this if an order were to be placed for a limit order, 100 shares of Microsoft. Throw some arbitrary price down there. And you can see here, obviously on the right-hand side is a control center. You see the working order, but you would see something like this on your mobile device on the left-hand side. And the idea, of course, is that you'll be able to manipulate that order and also place an order from the mobile as well, if that's something you wanted to do. So I can go ahead and, you'll see a bunch of different orders. I can cancel the order, as you could expect. This big X right here at the top just ends up canceling all orders, which I'll do right now. Same thing for positions. So if I entered into 100 shares of Microsoft, you click on positions, you would see it there with your P&L. Same thing with accounts. You'll see all that information. Now, what we're still trying to figure out is to what level are we going to provide, let's say, an interface for, meaning, is it at the level where you can select ATM strategies and NinjaScript strategies, deploy them from the remote, yes or no? I suspect that's probably the route we'll go, but it's, we haven't completely locked down on that yet. If you've got some strong opinions on that, I definitely would encourage you to, throw some comments on the Big Mike forum, or our forum for that matter. Clicking on the accounts, again, same thing. I mean, pretty straightforward stuff. Now, there's a couple areas here that are quite interesting. So if I click on quotes, you can see here, I've got a bunch of instruments on the left, and what is actually happening is this is a direct copy of my market analyzer window. And so the idea that we thought is, well, how can we drive the stuff that's on the desktop directly to the mobile? So we thought, well, for a quote sheet, we could just end up using the market analyzer And you can, and this is still a work in progress, we might allow every single market analyzer tab, market analyzer window to be driven, or it might just be one. We're not entirely sure yet, but the idea is that everything in your market analyzer would show up on your mobile. So, for example, if I just click on columns, and let's say you had a bunch of indicator columns that you wanted to monitor, I'm just going to stick this, whatever the default indicator that pops up first, looks like ADL. I hit OK, and here you can see on the mobile, the ADL indicator column pops up. So it's an interesting way to be able to push data and even custom indicators from your desktop to your local, to your local PC, to your remote mobile location. On the chart side of things, here's where it's a little bit trickier. The chart that you see here, I'm just running on the simulated data feed. That's why that chart looks kind of funny. This charting component actually is just part of the library that comes with this UI library. It's nothing that we developed. And by doing this, we give you the ability to interact with the chart, expand. You can do more things, but the downside of this approach is that all of the custom stuff that you might be using or that you might have developed won't come across because it's not the NinjaScript stuff that's coming across. It's a HTML5 indicator, and it's a completely different sandbox, so to speak. The other approach is to actually kind of do what we did with Market Analyzer, which is take a chart and send that entire chart image over. The downside there is that you don't have as much flexibility in terms of interacting with the chart. That's one downside. Another downside is the image compression, because when you send an image at a specific size on your desktop over to a smaller window on your mobile, it's going to get compressed, so it might be distorted to some degree. So there's a downside there. The upside is that you can actually get all of your custom stuff because it's going to show you exactly what's shown on the desktop. So, these are the couple of things that we're still kind of tossing back and forth and trying to figure out what the happy medium is there. We could create a complete new approach for custom development of indicators on the mobile, but it would be a completely different approach. And there's also some limitations there with that also. So that being said, anybody have any questions on the mobile stuff?
Yeah, there's a couple of quick questions here. So Peter is asking, will this work on any iPad, any tablet, even with small displays like an iPhone?
The answer is yes, and the reason for that is because it's not a what would be called a native iOS or native Android app. It's an HTML web app which runs in a browser. So on your tablet or on your iPhone, you've got, I think, I'm not an iPhone guy, but is it called Safari, I think? There's whatever the web browser is there. You literally would open up a web browser, punch in the URL, something like NinjaTrader.com mobile, just making it up for now. And so you would be able to run it, again, from any device that has a browser.
And this doesn't even have to be a mobile device. This could be for somebody that is running NinjaTrader at home but wants to access it from work, right?
Exactly. And I am running it from a Chrome browser right now, Right. That's what I'm running it in.
Paul has a question. Have you measured the range of round-trip latencies? So what do you, are you really doing anything from the mobile side that is latency sensitive? I mean, can you enter into trades from the mobile side?
The functionality is not implemented on what I'm showing you right now, but the simple answer is yes. And in terms of latency, we haven't done any performance measuring in that area right now, but the socket communications between the desktop, our proxy server, and what would then be the remote, right. We anticipate being very efficient, very quick, in the same lines as our own historical data server, which is right. Lightning fast.
Okay, there's lots of questions now, so let me try to combine a few. So First of all, can you clarify that this this server, this gateway server or whatnot, this is something that you are providing, not that the user has to provide, right?
That is correct. We would be providing that.
Okay. And several people also asking, is this going to be part of the NinjaTrader license they already have, or will this be paid separately?
Yeah, that's a good question. And without guaranteeing what I'm about to say, the likelihood is it will be part of just giving it away as we normally would, so meaning we wouldn't charge for that. I don't know, myself personally, that's the first way I look at things is, okay, would I pay, money for this? And, well, maybe a couple of bucks, I don't know, $5, $10. We might do something like, okay, people who have a paid license or have a live trading license get it for free, but people who don't.
Right.
So meaning the SIM users might not. But I think if we were to put some boundaries on it, it would be something like that.
Okay. Jeff is asking if he can turn his strategies on and off from the mobile platform.
The pipes for that are already built, and I suspect that will be the case, but I don't want to go on record saying that would be the case. But the idea would be that it's fully a remote, think of it like a remote control for NinjaTrader, right? And the more things you could control, obviously the more value there would be in such an application. So, our goal, of course, is to provide as much value to our customers as possible.
Right. Okay. And I see several more questions from people just talking about the general connectivity. So the NinjaTrader application would still have to be running on somebody's, PC. This is not running, the application itself is not running on a NinjaTrader server, but the communication between the home user's PC or whatnot to their mobile device, that is handled by NinjaTrader.
That is correct. And just some color on that, the reason for that intermediate server is that most of us that have internet connectivity have what's called a dynamic IP address scheme, which means that your ISP unknowingly will change the IP address for which you use to connect through to the internet. And what happens is if you punch in, if you connect directly to your PC and your IP address changes, you've got to know that, and then you've got to go, reconfigure it. And what putting a proxy server in between does is eliminates that, so you never have to worry about IP addresses changing on you.
Right. Chris is asking if he'll see basically a clone of the SuperDOM within the mobile.
I would say at this point in time, we're not even at that point of looking at that. I've seen other implementations of domes on small screens, and me personally, I just don't know how it's usable. Maybe on a tablet, it might be more useful. Right now, the goal is really more. We're not intending this to be a replacement to trade with. My belief is that our general demographic that we serve are active traders that sit, in front of the desktop, use the desktop, and are not in a coffee shop with a phone, trying to make, a lot of active trading decisions. And so the idea is more of a companion or more of a tool to allow our users to drive it when they're not in front of their desktop.
Right. Probably primarily for monitoring, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Matthias asking about security. Is it safe? Can anyone else see see private information?
I guess I'll do it this way. The answer is to the extent that SSL is secure. So, let me say two things. The information that we're sending from the desktop that passes through the proxy server is all encrypted, A. B, it's done using SSL, which is, for those of you who are not familiar, with secure socket layer, which basically means anytime if you punch your credit card in to you're buying something at Amazon or anything, you'll see on your URL it says HTTPS, which stands for secure. So it's all done through that. So as secure as that is as secure as our stuff will be.
Right. I recently switched all of BMT over to SSL, so went through all that. Peter is asking or is stating that as a developer he would like to see a mobile API, by the way.
And that's definitely something that we're bouncing back and forth. It's not out of the question. Part of the NinjaTrader 8 evolution is that we make the platform as open as possible, more so than NinjaTrader 7 was, and that's taken the form in opening up a lot more objects that people can access and develop to. And so I guess the short answer is it's on my list as something that would be in line with my policy to open up the platform as very development friendly.
Right.
Again, it's not a commitment at this point, but it's part of my policy.
Looks like just two more questions left. A couple people asking, again, just for clarification, that both the mobile client and the normal Windows application can both be running at the same time. There's no licensing issue there, right?
Correct, and it's the desktop needs to be running for the mobile to work. If your desktop is not running and you try to connect in with your mobile, it won't find your desktop.
Right, and that brings us to the last question, which is Chris basically saying that he wants to use it as disaster recovery, but that's not going to work. So if your internet goes down and your home desktop NinjaTrader can't connect, then this mobile app is not going to save you there.
Correct.
Okay. One last thing, Gary's saying that he'd like to see the ATM be selectable. So you mentioned that you might do that, right?
Yeah, it's already coded in there.
Okay.
So I anticipate that would be the case. Again, the policy is that if we didn't provide a lot of value in something like this, then it's of no value. And being able to do things that you normally do, like managing ATM strategies, closing positions, starting a NinjaScript strategy, those are things that I see as valuable items to be able to do remotely. So
right.
I see no reason why we wouldn't ultimately expose that.
So basically, to me, it sounds like the biggest question mark right now is the charting aspect to get the custom indicators and how you're going to handle that.
Yeah, that's a big question for us. As I said, there's pros and cons to going both ways, and I'm not sure exactly what the right approach is. And I honestly think that both approaches are good and both approaches are bad.
Right. Okay.
Just don't know yet.
Okay, I think that covers pretty much all of the questions. I don't want to just go on forever, so we can move on and maybe just at the end do a general Q&A.
Okay, no, that sounds good, Mike. I want to talk about two other things, the order ticket and the basic entry window, and we actually have those coded. But I have a feeling that we'll probably get more questions on SuperDOM related things. So I'm going to, I don't have any thing to show you in terms of actually coded SuperDOM. We're currently actually working on that now, but what I do have is, which I'm going to show you on the screen right now, is the actual artistic renderings of what we use internally as our, we call them compositions. But ultimately, when we go through the product management process, specification process, our product managers develop, a pretty extensive set of specifications. Our creative director, in concert with the product management, comes up with the compositions, and then the developers code to that. And what you see on your screen right now, let me actually get rid of this trend thing, are what the SuperDOM is going to look like in NT8. And what you probably will notice is that on the left side anyways, is that it doesn't really look too much different than NinjaTrader 7. And if you're new to these NinjaTrader 8 webinars at Big Mice, what I've always stated is that NinjaTrader 8 is an evolution of NinjaTrader 7 in terms of usability, look and feel. It's not, we're not reinventing something in terms of what you're used to. And our SuperDOM has been around for a long time. It's got a lot of people using it, and my feeling is that we got it right the first time. And however, that being said, there are improvements that people ask for, and we've incorporated the majority of those into NinjaTrader 8 SuperDOM. So let me just talk about kind of what's you can expect to be new and different. First, from a visual standpoint, I'll just point at the middle dome. You can see right away from a visual standpoint, there's a little more, I don't know what the word is. From our perspective, it looks a little prettier, I guess you could say that. There's like the order bars, there's target bar, the stop bar. On the left dome, you can see here there's a limit order price. So it just looks, a little bit cleaner, in my opinion, a little, I guess if I could use the word sexier, a little sexier. The ATM and all the order parameters at the bottom is a little cleaner. And like we talked about in previous webinars, it's all tab driven, so you can have multiple tabs and so forth. Now, on the right-hand side, you see a different view. And we went through quite a lot of push and pull internally on this because, one of the requirements, or not requirements, but one of the strongest suggestions was people wanted to see some volume profile columns, P&L columns, and by adding that, without getting into all the logistical details there, when you put those additional columns on there, it just kind of, you impact other things and a lot of things. You got to kind of figure out how to get through it and reconcile it. And so what we did was decide, okay, if we're going to add more columns, it makes the most sense for the set of controls, all the buttons and the instrument selector, ATM strategy selector to be put on the left-hand side. Because if it's on the bottom, then you've got this big open white space area to the right of it. Looked rather dumb. Now, when you turn on these columns, you will be able to leave the trade control section at the bottom, but optionally you can flip a switch and move it over to the left side of the dome so it just looks more symmetrical and it feels better to use. But I guess my point in this is simply with NT8, we've introduced the concept of additional columns. And those columns, we're going to give you 3 of them by default. The P&L column, which you see in the screenshot, the volume profile column, which you see, and another column, I'm not sure if we're going to call it notes or text, but think of it just like a Excel column where you can type in whatever notes you might want, whether it's just user notes, this is my entry price, whatever you want. And the idea is simply, just like a charting indicator, you have the ability to right-click, select columns, select from any one of these 3 columns and arrange them in whichever fashion you want, whether you want the volume column first or the P&L column second. You'll have that flexibility. But more importantly, where this is going is we're going to introduce custom columns, NinjaScript columns, which allow you, or users, developers, whatever, to go in and actually code whatever type of column you want, which I think is pretty cool myself. And these volume columns and the P&L columns will be NinjaScript objects that you will be able to see and see the code, how we set it up, and no different than a chart indicator. So again, in the policy of trying to provide as much open development within the trading platform as possible, that's kind of the inspiration for where this is coming from. With a couple of exceptions, you would not be able to change, modify the buy, price, or sell column. The idea is those are fixed and they stay where they are. There's good reason for that because the way that the order flags, the visualization of those span multiple columns, so we can't really give anybody the flexibility to change that. But all the columns to the right, again, will be custom columns for you guys to do what you want, and I suspect there'll be some pretty interesting things that come out. So that's probably the biggest, from my perspective, change that you're going to see with the NinjaTrader 8 SuperDOM. The second biggest thing is going to be, and I'm going to refer to the screenshot on the left. You're going to see there is a purple line going across the cell that has a price $16.2925. So the other thing we're going to introduce is the ability to put indicators on your price column. And I can't remember if we're thinking that it could go in any column, but for now I'll just say the price column. So same thing like columns. If you right-click, you'll be able to select columns, and a column dialog will pop up, but we'll also have indicators, and then you can parameterize any indicator that's what we call an overlay indicator, meaning an indicator that would sit on top of a price panel in a chart, such as a moving average or any type of really moving average. So those are the type of indicators that you'll be able to add and put on to your DOM that will be visualized based off the plot color you select, and it will show up as a marker like this in the center column. If there happens to be two indicators at the same price, then we'll likely just split the color between the two plots. And one other point is that the prices will be rounded, since they do got to fit on a price cell. And where that takes us is actually to another area which we're kind of hashing out right now, which is also the ability to drive an order based off of an indicator. And this is actually not specific to the SuperDOM, but it will also be generic to charts, for example. So the idea simply is something like, if you had an indicator, let's say that purple line was up here near the top, you could, for example, drag the limit order onto the indicator, and now that limit order is following the price of that indicator, so you can drive your order price changes from your indicator or from a custom indicator. So those are, I guess, the three kind of high-level changes you're going to see in the SuperDOM. A couple of other things, I know a lot of you always ask, hey, why can't we see more than 5 levels of depth? Well, you'll get as many as you want. That'll be available with NinjaTrader 8. We are introducing, I'll call it a new order submission mode. And without trying to get too confusing, as you guys know right now, if you left-click in the buy column, anywhere you click will submit a limit order, even if it's clicked above the, let's say, the current ask, it'll submit a buy limit order. We're going to provide an option, because we've had enough people ask us for this, by where if you flip this option on, if you left-click above the ask on the buy column, instead of submitting a limit order, it would submit a buy stop. I know a couple of other products do it that way, and I think probably that people who ask, they're people coming from other competitive products, so we've included that in our plans for NinjaTrader 8 SuperDOM. One other thing that I think is kind of neat is there will be an option. These are for the people who are using the dynamic SuperDOM. As you know, you have to press the H or the space bar to hold the prices so they don't kind of flutter all over the place on you, so you can place an order. There'll be an option by where when you move your mouse into the price ladder region, it'll automatically hold it for you, so you don't have to press the button or click on the H. So I'll stop here and see if there's any questions on the DOM.
Yeah, there's a lot of questions. So I'm trying to combine here. Can you, once an order is submitted, can you modify the ATM for that order?
Can you modify the ATM for that order? I'm not sure exactly. I think I'm going to need to have that elaborated.
I think like if you wanted to change the ATM, like an auto trailing stop or something, can that go live? Can that go into effect with an order that's already into the market?
I'll say it this way: you can change parameters of your auto trail, auto stop. Now in NinjaTrader 7, you just hover over, let's say, a stop, and you right-click, and you're going to see options for modifying the order there. What you can do with NinjaTrader 7 is if you have an open position, unprotected, you can't apply an ATM strategy to that open position. You can only apply an ATM strategy when you're creating a new position. And with NinjaTrader 8, and I guess this is a big deal, and I probably should have mentioned that, is that you will be able to take an open position that does not have an ATM strategy applied and apply one.
Okay.
So I don't know if that's exactly what was being asked, but
John is asking, this is more of a charting question. I know we're not really quite there yet, but you guys have NinjaTrader. He's wondering if you will have basically a chart SuperDOM so that we get to see, I guess, the full ladder and stuff on the side of the chart. He's asking for that.
The answer is no.
Jacob wants to know if the TT royalty fee is still the same as before.
Yeah, that wouldn't change with the new NinjaTrader 8 Dome.
Okay. John, I'm trying to understand John's question. I think he's asking, he says he would like to see the amount of the bid and offer. I don't understand your question, John, because that's already there on the DOM. Okay, let's see what else we got. Brian is asking about the volume profile, I believe. He's asking, any chance we can see the relative bid-ask volume instead of just volume?
The answer is yes. I know that's on the spec, and I can't remember if we're... give me 1 sec, guys. Brett! Sorry, I'm asking my product manager who's just on the other side of mine. Hey, with the volume profile column on the DOM, splitting the bid and ask volume, that was in the spec, correct? Okay, thanks. Answer is yes.
Cool. Okay. And I see a few other questions asking how that is populated. Does like if somebody brings up a chart an hour after the open, will they be able to populate that volume column back to a session start time of their choosing, or is it only gathered in real time?
That's a really good question. Here's the answer. A, you have to have access to historical data. You may or may not know this. If you don't have access to historical data through a market data service or your broker, NinjaTrader will record the data coming in if you turn that option on. It's also true for NinjaTrader 7. Okay, that's the first question. So assuming most of our users have access to historical data through their broker or whatever, so the answer is it will, the volume profile will go to the start of whatever session you specify, and there is a session setting that will be in the DOM to define that. On the bid-ask stuff, because the bid-ask obviously needs to be calculated, because you got to take the last price and check, if the last price occurred when the bid was equal to the last or less than the bid, and that goes to our what we call, at least right now, I don't know if this is the name that's going to make it in production, but we're calling it tick replay. With NinjaTrader 8, one of the biggest things we've done is to store the bid-ask price along with every tick, so that when you do things like we're talking about, have a volume profile that splits up the bid and ask volume, you need to have that data available. So the short answer is, as long as you have access to that data through either, like on CQG and Zenfire, it uses our servers for historical data. We will be, storing the bid-ask, so that you will get that.
Okay.
Kinetic, you will get that. I can't remember with eSignal, Interactive Brokerage, you would not. Right. So short of it is yes, if you've got access to the data.
Okay. A couple quick questions of my own, if you guys don't mind. So can we split sessions so that, I have one DOM up 24/7, but it knows that I'm either in the cash session or the overnight session, and it will show me the volume profile accordingly?
I guess it's real simple, Mike. There is one property on the DOM which is called session template, and it will show you only what it is you set there. So if you, for example, want to see the 24 or the ETH session, you'd have to select that template. And if you, let's say now are an RTH and you want to ignore the ETH, you'd have to really go in and change that setting. That would be one way to do it. The other approach is to have two tabs open, right? One that represents your ETH, one that represents your RTH. Or, yeah, right, that would be the other way to do it. And you could name, for example, because you can actually name the tabs. So you could call it ES0913-ETH, for example, and the other one RTH. So those are the approaches you have to take.
Rick is asking if you will give any consideration to adding a order pad. I think what he's talking about is for selecting quantities for new orders, like you've probably seen it on some other platforms, right? It looks like a number pad, and you can select customize the button. So you click a button, it'll be quantity 1, or a different button, maybe quantity 5.
Like this?
Yeah, pretty similar to that, yeah. Okay.
So, yes, we are. So here's how it works. You middle click on quantity column. On the left-hand side, this is your, let's say, pre-select. So if I select 10K, it's 10,000. It'll automatically pop 10K in. Or I can say, I want 10,005, and these are addition items. So you can just increment it. I can obviously clear it, close it, and more importantly, I can configure it. So I just clicked on configure, and here you can see these are all presets. You can add as many as you want, whatever numbers you want on your quick hit ones or the increment ones. The same thing. So it's fully configurable, and they're available anywhere you will see an order quantity field.
Okay, great. I realized that I skipped over, but I should mention, by the way, that a lot of people had very good comments about the mobile. A lot of thumbs up comments, and a lot of people saying, great job, applause, sounds awesome, wonderful about the SuperDOM. So good job.
Okay, great. Thanks.
Okay, I see a few more questions about colors and fonts. Can we configure those?
Yes. In short, yeah. I mean everything. Let me do this. Let me pop up the control center and go basic entry window and go properties. So basically, just like basic entry window, there's going to be the ability to color. Anything that you can color. I know in the SuperDOM there's a lot of color options. So the short of it is yes, you can do that. The font style, same thing like NinjaTrader 7 can do that. One thing you'll see with NinjaTrader 8 that you can't do with NinjaTrader 7, and some of you might find this useful, is with NinjaTrader 7 you couldn't change the width of any of our order entry tools.
Right.
Okay,
cool.
So there's going to be more flexibility in terms of visual layout that you can do with NinjaTrader 8.
And that's on the DOM as well, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Cool. And then the other thing too, and this might crash on me, just so you know, if I click here, but I'll show it to you anyways. Yeah, right here. So we've got a simulation color, and I want to say with NinjaTrader 7 couldn't change the simulation color. At least that was my belief. So this is like when you select a sim account, it goes dark gray. Right. So you can't, you can't change that in NinjaTrader 7, and we did provide that option, although we elected to do it at a global level. So it's, it's under Tools Options, and here I've got it set to transparent, which means that it doesn't change color. It looks as if you were live, because I personally just never liked the dark gray stuff. But you can set it to what NinjaTrader 7 looked like, or I can, do whatever color you want. So here I just, for example, change the basic entry to turquoise when I'm on a sim account. So.
Right. Okay. A couple people were asking for clarification on adding indicators to the DOM. I think you mentioned it, but could you remind us on what you can or cannot do?
Yeah, sure, absolutely. So the basic idea is this, that there's only one type of indicator that you could conceivably want to put on your DOM, which are indicators that ultimately would follow price, meaning if you take a look at a chart, it's the indicators that you would apply on the same panel that you would have your data series on, because it's showing a price value versus like CCI, which is a calculated value, let's say. So
right.
The first thing you will be limited to is any indicator whose property is overlay property is set to true. This is more of a NinjaScript thing, but it basically means that as you put the indicator on a chart, it automatically, by default, puts it on the same panel as your data series.
But we're talking things like moving averages and bands and that kind of stuff.
Exactly, because that's the stuff you care to see on your DOM, right?
Right.
You don't want to see a CCI indicator.
Right.
I mean, there's nowhere to put it. So that's the first, let's say, boundary. So the idea, though, is just like a chart. You click on the indicators. You get an indicators dialog. You'll see a list of available indicators. You click on it. The only difference between a chart and the DOM is you do have to configure the data series, no different than you would adding an indicator column to a market analyzer window. You would then select what the data series is, select OK, and you would see it show up as a line like we're showing on the left-hand screen. And we went through literally 20 different ways to try to visualize, it on this price call or on the DOM itself. And there's just so many gotchas. You put it here and it interferes with the order flag. You put it there, it interferes with something else. So the cleanest thing that we've been able to come up with is showing it as a line within the center cell.
Okay.
I don't know if that was enough.
I think so.
That question or not.
I'm consolidating a few questions here. Guys, we're trying to hold general questions until the end, so I'm just looking for SuperDOM questions. Sal wants to know if you'll consider adding MAE and MFE to the SuperDOM for open positions, like a percentage or dollar or points column.
I see. Sal, I guess the answer to that is probably not at this time. Not the answer you're wanting here, but when we went through this, I don't ever recall seeing that as a suggestion. So the only way to get it into the product is by sending the suggestion over to support@ninjatrader.com. We do track all of that stuff. One suggestion doesn't make doesn't drive an action, but it does definitely, give us food for thought, because definitely there are things where we have done that nobody suggested things because we just feel it's the right thing to do, and other things where, just such a high demand, like the volume profile column, for example, that, we got to do it.
John is asking regarding the ATM strategy, specifically with scaling out with multiple targets. He's asking, if I understand correctly, for the ability to specify the scale out quantity as a percentage of the total quantity instead of a hard number.
Yeah, the answer to that is no. The ATM scale out, the ATM orders, the scale out orders are always driven by whatever the order quantity is set, when you place the order, and we don't have a concept for some percentage of a position at this time, and I don't think that I ever seen that as well on our list for ATM enhancements.
Okay. Eduardo asking, can he re-add the buy, price, and sell columns on the custom columns side?
I don't believe so, because at least as a way I recall it being spec, the buy, price, and sell columns are fixed, can't be manipulated other than just the standard, visual properties that we give you in NinjaTrader 7. Now that doesn't mean you could not build your own, right? So the idea of a custom column is that, you've got access to the price data, order information, so you really can do whatever you want. So, worst case is that you could recreate it if you wanted to.
Right. Helder is asking if they can set stop loss using an ATM based on some sort of an indicator like a moving average.
Yeah, that's a good question, and I'll answer it this way. One of the features that we have that I discussed was the ability for you to attach an order to be driven by an indicator value. And I said that was generic in that it wasn't specific to the DOM, but it was specific also to charts. And so the answer is yes, that we plan, at least at this point, to introduce that with NinjaTrader 8. But it's not part of the ATM. It's a separate function. So you can't launch it from ATM. And going into the explanation why that is a really long discussion, because we spent a lot of time on discussing this. The short answer is you will in some way be able to attach any order, whether it's being governed already by an ATM strategy or just has no governance, it's just an order by itself. You will be able to assign that or attach that to an SMA, for example, and the SMA price changes will drive price size changes on the order. So worst case for you, it would be a subsequent step after having an ATN strategy in place.
Okay. Gary's asking, as a developer, if he will have access to all the Windows objects on the SuperDOM, even though they may not be fully supported.
A really good question, Gary, and the answer to that is we're still thinking about that. And without getting into too much developer details, one of the ideas that we have is that we really expose all of the controls on every single UI, so that you have the ability, by ID to say, okay, here's SuperDOM, here's a buy market button, and you can literally do what you want with that button. There are implications to doing that, and technically it's more or less, I don't want to say it's a no-brainer. It's we can do that, and it's on our list, and Dirk, our head developer, and I are having pretty intense discussions about that. We haven't come to a conclusion on that yet, but the idea, again, is what I want to do is make NinjaTrader 8 as open as possible, meaning that in an official stance, developers have really a lot of flexibility to, and I'll use the term hijack, to insert stuff wherever they might want to. Insert new menus in the control center, launch new windows that have full access to the same functions or events that we use to develop a DOM and place orders. That's kind of my extreme vision, because my thought is that by doing so, it really allows people to build whatever they want. We've already seen that in the last 5 years, with NinjaScript, that people have really taken, what, I don't want to say little, but what we've given them in the area of strategies, indicators, and have built some pretty interesting things. Right. And absolutely. This is just taking this to a real extreme level, but there are implications with doing that, and today's not a discussion for that, because it's a long one. But we are thinking about that, Gary.
John is asking if whenever he mouses over the SuperDOM, will that hold the ladder in place? I guess so that if he's using the dynamic ladder, I guess that would be the question, right? If you mouse over, does it stop the ladder from moving, or how does that work?
Yeah, that's the correct interpretation of the question, and the answer is yes. We have in our spec an option to enable that.
Okay. I see lots of other general questions, but I know we're under a little bit of time constraints. Did you want to show us anything else, or should we open to general questions?
Let's do this, Mike, because I definitely was hoping you could, to get into the basic entry window and the order ticket, but the reality is that, there's always a lot of questions framed, which I appreciate, and I have a feeling that the quiz part might take a little bit of time, and I know I want to get through that before my heart stop in a half hour. So let me do this. One more comment on the DOM, or really any order entry window. We did add the ability to switch the P&L display. So that's, if you see where my mouse is, where the $12.50 is. With NT7, we had 3 options, and with NT8, we now have 6. So you can also display it in pips for you Forex guys, as well as ticks. And we also have an option of none, because we always get people wanting to, hey, I don't want to see my P&L. So I just wanted to put that out there, because I forgot about that. So what I want to do now is I'm going to go through the quiz and ask a bunch of questions and get some people winning some stuff. And then once we're done with that, we can just kind of open up the general questions. Does that work?
That's good. I have one final question about the SuperDOM myself, if you don't mind. Over the years of running the forum, I've seen this come up a lot, and I think that it could help people a lot. So I'm sure it's on your list. I just wonder if you've had a chance to implement it, and that is a software side control mechanism that a user can input, like a daily loss limit, and the platform, does its best to hold that user accountable so that they can't keep going, go full tilt. Any plans for that type of implementation?
I'll say it right now that I lean against that, Mike. We've discussed this internally many times, and right or wrong, my opinion on that was always that as a software vendor, I would get in more trouble locking somebody
Legal.
else. I set up the lock, and now I'm lost, but I still need to get in.
I know.
That's why I shied away from that.
Okay, but perhaps with the openness of the API, somebody else could do it as a third party.
It's depending on how open we go, it's possible. Yeah, for sure.
Okay, so you want to move to the quiz, and then we'll get back to the general Q&A.
Yeah. So what's the boundaries here, Mike? Just basically the first one with the correct answer.
Yeah. There's 8 questions.
No, 16.
Or 16. Okay, yeah, we better just do the first person correct. And guys, I'm going to ask your BMT username. That's how I'm going to get a hold of you to get the prize into your hands. So have that ready for me, okay?
Okay, get your fingers on the keyboard. So the first set of questions are going to be for multi-broker annual licenses. So this is probably it is the 4 prizes of highest dollar value.
Right.
First question, real simple one. What year was NinjaTrader first released?
Okay. Whoa, okay. All right, guys, stop typing because my screen is flying by. So Ray, go ahead and just confirm the answer, and I'll pick the first person.
10 years ago, 2003.
And so Greg T., you were the first person, so I need your BMT username, please. And congratulations again, by the way, on the 10-year. Okay, so that's for our first 1-year annual license.
Okay, here's a second question. In the same spirit of the first question, what year did BMT first appear?
Okay, wait, hang on, guys. Chris T., I need your BMT username, and so the answer is 2009.
That's too simple, huh?
That's all right. It's all in good fun.
Yeah. All right.
So that's for a second license, okay?
All right, third question. What technology was used to implement the NinjaTrader mobile interface I showed you?
Okay, we got the answer. And guys, I also want to just mention that it's one winner. You can only win one prize, okay? So please, let's keep that in mind. Jeff H., I need your BMT username. And Ray, you can go ahead and confirm that I got that right. HTML5, right?
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay.
Another, like I said, I try to keep these questions, like I said, fun and simple.
Right.
Last question in this prize category. Can you cancel orders from the NinjaTrader mobile interface?
Okay. Okay, so the answer is yes. And looks like Jim M. is the first person. So Jim, I need your BMT username, please. All right, so congrats, guys. So all those guys just won 1-year license, multi-broker license.
All right.
Still waiting for Jim's username. There we go. All right, thanks.
So next round of 4 questions will be 4 multi-broker quarterly licenses. All right. What city is NinjaTrader based in?
Okay. Guys, you're on the ball. Well, this is interesting. Do you guys have more than one location? I mean,
we do.
Denver is the base, right?
That's correct.
Can you name the others? Because Alex, somehow, I don't know how, but he's listed other cities in addition to Denver, and he was also the first. So I'm not sure how he managed to type all that. But
Amsterdam.
And Bamberg?
Bamberg.
Yeah, Alex, how did you do that? All right, so Alex B., what's your BMT username? And this is for the quarterly multi-broker.
Okay. Next question. Name a new feature in NinjaTrader 8 SuperDOM.
Okay. Let's see. Okay, again, this is kind of scary because Sal was first, and he also has like a 30-word answer. So you guys must be like, you have like a notepad open and you got this ready, right? And you're pasting answers, because here's what Sal wrote, literally. Custom columns, volume profile and P&L column, indicator column, ability to drive an order off of an indicator, visual stop and target levels. Also be adding stop order above buy price or below sell price. Also an option to auto stop once mouses hover over certain area. Apply an ATM strategy to an open position. And he was first.
I wonder what you guys are using, because that's I mean, because even writing that in advance and copying, like finding it and copying and pasting, you know. Oh, he's just ready for that question. All right, that's a good one.
All right, so guys, hang on just 2 seconds though, because I need Sal's email or username, and I need the last guy's username too. I don't see it. Okay, I don't want to get too far behind here. Yeah, I mean, one guy just typed that it's rigged and he left, but I can promise you guys it's not rigged.
And you know, nobody's seen these questions. I never disclose these questions to anybody.
Yeah, and you know, honestly, Ray, this has been happening all month long, and I've been personally responsible for several of the Q&A, so I know also that it's not rigged, and it's just people preparing and typing it in and cutting and pasting. So hey, you know, that's fair. Okay, so I got Sal's, but I still need the last guy's username. Okay, there it is. There it is. All right, thanks. Okay, so we're going to the third quarterly license next, right?
Yep. Okay, that's a simple question, and I guess here it goes. Will the NinjaTrader 8 SuperDOM support more than 5 levels of depth?
Okay, so the answer is yes. And Najib S, I need your BMT username, please. That's for a quarterly license. And hopefully my dogs don't go crazy. They're seeing somebody. So waiting for the username. Okay, great.
And
so this is
question.
Right.
What is the name of NinjaTrader's own market data service?
Tricky. They couldn't have written that one down in part of this webinar. Okay.
Yeah, I've had other questions where they could have written it down.
That's true. So the answer is kinetic, and Adam P is the first person. So Adam, I need your username. Okay, so that's all 4 of the quarterly licenses, right?
Correct. And now we're on to hats and shirts. So let's go 4 hats here. So ready for the question?
Still waiting for a username.
Okay.
Trying to not get behind.
Yeah, hold on.
So Adam, I need your username. Okay, there it is. Go ahead.
Okay. So your next set of 4 questions are 4 hats. First question. What is the exact closing price of the Dow today?
Okay, so exact closing price of the Dow.
Yeah. I don't know the answer myself. We got to go look it up. But.
Yeah, my charts are all behind these webinars. And are we looking at futures or cash?
Oh, just the Dow, cash Dow index.
Okay, cash Dow. So you're going to have to give me the answer first so I can see who it was.
I'm going to Yahoo Finance right now, and I'm going to put it up on the screen so we all can see it. And it's right there, 14799.40.
Okay, Apollo Z, I need your BMT username. So you get a hat. Good job. And Ray, are these NinjaTrader hats?
Yeah, they're either going to be NinjaTrader or Kinetic. I can't remember what inventory I've got, but
okay.
Can be. I'll just ask.
Okay.
When we get the names, what they want.
Okay, so I'll ask if one person has a preference or not, and we'll do our best to try to get the right hat if it's possible.
Okay, next question. Name one of our FX brokerage partners.
Okay. Guys, we got the answer, so you got to stop typing. All right, so FXCM is one, right?
Yep, absolutely.
And SS, I need your BMT username. Okay.
Next question then. What is the one-time purchase price of our standard version lifetime license?
Okay. And to be honest, I don't know the answer, so what is it?
$995.
Okay. Marcel T was the first right answer. I need your username. So that's hat number 3, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And this next question. Okay, I'm looking for the full URL of our Facebook page.
They got to type that one in manually. There we go. All right, so I'm taking a guess. It's facebook.com/NinjaTrader.
Yes, it is.
Okay, and Christina Q, I need your BMT username. So congrats on that. All right, and so the next 4 are for the shirts, right?
That is correct.
And is it
when you're ready.
Is it same deal? Is it either Ninja or Kinetic?
No, just Ninja shirts.
Just Ninja. Cool. Okay. Okay, I'm ready. Go ahead.
Who is the CEO of Tesla Motors?
There we go. RR, I need your BMT username. And I always say his first name wrong. Is it Elon Musk?
Elon.
I don't know why I always get it wrong. So good job, RR. This is for the Ninja shirt. So I need your BMT username, please. Okay. All right. So next.
What city is the CME located in?
Okay, guys, we got the answer. Hang on. Yes, stop. So Chicago and Mr. U, I need your BMT username. Actually, I think that is your username, right? Okay, go ahead.
All right, 2 more questions. Does NinjaTrader 7 officially support options trading?
Okay. And the answer is no, right?
That's correct.
No. Rudolph, that's a tricky one. Tricky. Rudolph K, I need your BMT username, please. By the way, Ray, I saw a few people asking if Ninja 8's going to support options, if you want to cover that later.
I'll hold on to that one.
Okay.
Because I can't say yes or no at this right now.
I still need your okay, there we go. All right, so one more shirt to give away.
One more shirt. Last question. Here it comes. What is the user interface technology used in NinjaTrader 8? This is a tougher one, I think.
Okay, repeat the question.
What is the user interface technology used in NinjaTrader 8?
Several good answers. I don't want to misspeak in case I am not going to give the right answer, so I'm going to wait for a few more to get on the screen, unless you're looking at it and see the right answer already.
Oh, I didn't even see I could see that. Can I see this then?
It's hard, but it's there. Well, let me ask you this. Is it WPF?
It is.
Okay. That's what I thought. So, Matthias H., congratulations. I need your BMT username.
WPF or Windows Presentation Foundation, whatever came first.
Right. Yeah, WPF. He was first one on that.
Got it.
All right, so congrats, guys. And thanks, by the way, to NinjaTrader. All those prizes are donated by NinjaTrader. Thanks, Ray.
Yeah, you're welcome, guys. I'm glad to do it.
So I'm going to reach out to all 16 winners as soon as the webinar is over, and I'll get all the info, and we'll get everything taken care of and get those prizes into your hands. So for the few minutes that we have left, if anybody has general Q&A, go ahead and type that in now. Let's see. Ray, can you throw up the mobile side again?
Yeah, absolutely. Let me a sec. See if I still have it running, which I don't. So.
Okay. Let's see. Jeff is asking, making a comment and a question, I think. On the mobile app, many people trade from what they see on their charts, including the indicators, so he really wants to see the indicators. And he would like to know whether or not NinjaTrader 8, just in general, is going to have a native market profile indicator.
Yeah, trying to think how to answer that. Here's the answer. What's not clear to me, or let me rewind. Okay, there is volume profile indicators that are developed by some of our partners.
Great.
And what is up for debate right now, and this is actually a hot topic. Literally, I had a discussion with one of my product managers about this today, was what to do in this area. So one option is we develop, our own volume profile set of indicators for the charts, or it's actually probably a chart style is how we would do it. And if we did it ourselves, the next question is, do we, is that part of just NinjaTrader and it's free for everybody to use? Or is it, let's say something special that you charge for? And if it's something special that you charge for, then for me the question is, well, do I spend the time developing it? Or do I license it from one of our existing partners and just say, hey, look, we want to take your stuff and just, make it part and ship it, but, we want to charge for it. And so that, I guess ultimately what I haven't yet decided is if it's free or not. And that answer dictates whether I develop it myself or not.
Right. It's kind of like similar.
I just don't know. There's the strong.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. I was going to say it just kind of reminds me of like going back a few Windows versions with Microsoft when they started adding antivirus and stuff, for free. Yet they had all their people that were selling it, so I'm sure it's kind of a similar path, right? So it's in high demand, but you also got to keep all your developers happy, all your third-party guys.
Exactly. So it's just, I haven't made a decision. I know that my product managers want to put it in for free, and I'm not opposed to that, but I really am taking some time to think about that because there's a lot more than just, volume profile. There's market profile. The CME or CBOE or whoever has I don't know if it's a patent or trademark on that.
Right.
And then also, the other thing I got to look at is, well, anybody could build this stuff for free anyways, and put it out in my community for free, or they could say, yeah, screw it, Ray, I'm not going to pay $50 a month or whatever people charge for something like that, and we're going to, build a custom column in your DOM, and it's going to be, the best thing thin sliced bread because we're going to give you the tools to do that. So it's, so that's part of the argument, which is, well, why charge for it when they can, sooner or later, somebody's going to come along and build it, you know what I mean?
Yeah. And
either charge or give it away for free or who knows. So.
Okay, several people asking about when will NinjaTrader 8 be released?
Yeah, same question I get every time webinar.
Yeah.
Our target is this year to have it in, whether it's I can safely say you're not going to see a production release in the next 3 or 4 months. We're targeting to have it in public hands this year. And I can't, that's not a promise, it's not a commitment. My feeling is this, just, kind of for the record, with NinjaTrader 6.5, we had a lot of motivation to get NinjaTrader 7 out the door because it solved a lot of performance issues that people had with NinjaTrader 6.5. There really isn't performance issues, out of the box. If people write indicator code that isn't, optimal, for sure that can affect performance. But out of the box, NinjaTrader 7 is pretty rock solid. So I don't feel as much pressure to have to put something out, as soon as possible. My goal right now is really to make sure that the platform is going to be in a state where it's going to service us, the community, the company for the next 10 plus years.
Right.
And I guess that's how I'm looking through this. And the reality is this, guys, don't forget that there is thousands of third-party things developed, or I'll just say custom things developed for NinjaTrader 7. It's not upward compatible, as I stated before. There's, just like we had it with 6.5 to 7, there's, code breaking changes, although we minimize that. My point is that it's going to take some time for people to migrate over to NinjaTrader 8 because maybe their indicator hasn't been ported over. So, even if I released it tomorrow, there's still going to be some, delay before the user base is completely converted over.
Right. Well, anybody that has not seen the prior 3 webinars that you've done on BMT should take a look, because first of all, a whole bunch of questions about the framework and underlying engine and stuff were covered in those, and also you can kind of see a progression, of what you guys have been doing over the last few months. So I hope that you can make the release date for this year. I'm sure everybody wants to get it as soon as possible. Jack is asking about the mobile application and the chart specifically, how big of a delay there's going to be between the desktop and the iPhone or whatever he's using.
Yeah, it really depends on what option or what route we go. What you're seeing on the screen right now, it's no different than if you were to load a chart on your desktop if you're using CQG or Zenfire, because the historical data would come from our servers. And this charting component is such that we need to request historical data. So it's, from my perspective, pretty snappy. If we do the other way, where we're really taking images off of your desktop of a chart, then it's all about, how much bandwidth you have, because now we're taking a snapshot of a chart, compressing the image, sending it through the wire, opening it back up. So the reality, and we would probably, update that, because again, this is not a real-time chart where, let me actually take a step back. What you see on your screen now would be a real-time chart, meaning every tick, or I don't even say every tick, but let's say, once a second, if there's such a delay on it, would update your chart once a second. I'm not sure if we would do the same thing with sending images over. Do we take a snapshot every second, send it through, or is every 5 seconds enough? Ultimately, we don't know yet because we're not sure which direction to go. A, and B, there might be concerns on our side for bandwidth, because don't forget, by introducing servers and having to make sure there's enough pipe for 35,000 plus users that potentially could use this thing, to make sure that there's enough bandwidth for all this data to flow through, puts NinjaTrader in a different position than it has been traditionally, because we don't have server technology that serves things. Apart from our historical data servers, we're not like a broker that's got market data servers and we're serving stuff. Our costs we don't have operational costs when it comes to data centers and things like that. And that's why when I said, hey, I'd like to make mobile free, and that's really kind of the goal. If suddenly I've got to spend, I'm just picking a number here, if I got to buy, 10 servers, at $8,000 a pop, plus the cost to run the data center, suddenly I have an expense, a pretty significant one, that I didn't have before. So then the question is, wow, okay, can I do this for free, because I'm going to get back in an unmeasurable way, more users, because I got this for free. That will be my economical question. And like I said, an $80,000 outlay, it's not like, hey, let's just throw one server out and do that. So it's hard to know yet. There's a lot of variables there, and that's why, I prefaced the discussion early on saying, hey, we're working on this. don't want to say it's experimental, but it's work in progress, and we're still trying to figure it out and figuring it out by doing it.
Great. A couple people asking if the release date for NinjaTrader 8 is tied to the release date of mobile, or if NinjaTrader 8 is ready first, will you release it first?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, the mobile is, let's say, on the periphery of the core. It's not in the critical path of NinjaTrader 8.
Okay. Sebi is asking if you have any intention to change the licensing structure. Like right now, there's a free version of NinjaTrader with some, restrictions, and then there's like a broker version, and then there's the end user retail version. Is any of that changing? Is all of it staying the same?
At this point in time, we have no intentions of changing it. That being said, things can always change, but there's no intention of changing it.
Okay, so that means that if I remember this correctly, so NinjaTrader 8, you could download it and use it completely, 100%. Every piece of functionality is free until you're ready to actually trade live, and then that's when you need a live license, right?
That's correct, in the same spirit as NinjaTrader 7 is.
Right, okay. Matthias asking if you could go into some more detail for the Visual Studio developers, what will be supported in terms of writing and testing NinjaScript within Visual Studio?
Okay, good question. I personally have not played with this myself, but just so you guys know, don't hold me accountable if something crashes. But here, in these icons up at the top of the NinjaScript editor, is just placeholders right now. That'll look different, but here you can see there's a VS that stands for Visual Studio, and we've done a bunch of work here. I don't know exactly because I'm far removed from this, but the high-level idea is that you can you go into Visual Studio, code your stuff, it updates here, and you can interact between the two. So I guess maybe that was kind of a simple answer, but I really can't explain it more than that, only because I haven't really dug into the details of that. But I know that we have done a bunch of work to have better integration with Visual Studio.
Okay, Stephen is asking. Sorry, I was a little distracted. I just can't believe I'm getting complaints right now from people that still think that those prizes are rigged. Guys, I promise you, the prizes were not rigged. Okay. So please, let's get over that. I think that people have realized that they should pay attention to the webinar, and they're just recording their notes, right, and cutting and pasting. That's really the big secret. So I think that's totally fair. Okay, sorry about that. People just get upset because the prizes are valuable, and you know how it is.
Stephen, I can understand that, and like I said, for the record, those questions are on my PC. They didn't even make it to my network here in the company.
Yeah.
Nobody in my company's seen it, and I crafted those questions this morning. So, I guess, I ask you to trust me, and Mike,
yeah.
Wasn't rigged.
Okay. Stephen is asking about market on touch or market if touched orders.
Yes.
Just in general, any built-in support for that?
The answer, I guess, is yes. Actually, another hot topic that I spent 10 minutes on today trying to figure out the approach we're taking to implement. I guess the answer is we're going to support market if touched orders, but there is a chance it might not be called market if touched, but it's going to do exactly what market if touched. I won't get into the details. This is kind of the product management, architectural questions of how to implement it. But the short of it is, yes, we will be supporting them in NinjaTrader 8.
Okay. Ryan is asking a charting question. I know you don't want to go into too many charting details, but he's asking, he says right now NinjaTrader 7 does not have the ability to plot two different times, like a 5-minute and a 10-minute, on the same chart due to scaling issues. And you and I both know that you can actually do that, but the the scaling, I guess some people would call it scaling issues, do exist. Any changes planned for NT8 in that regard?
Yeah, absolutely. And let me be clear. Yeah, they're not. We multi-series and NinjaTrader 7 forces the x-axis, the time axis, to be scaled in uniform, or we call it, equidistant. And so what you get, on minute bars, they all line up fine, but if you plot like tick bars on a minute bar time frame together, those what you call the tick bars, will not be uniformly, they won't be equidistant. The short answer is with NinjaTrader 8, we have a couple of different options that you will see that will allow you to basically, I'll just say, do what you want, without getting into long explanations of what happens, but you can make all your bars equidistant. However many different types of series you want to intermix, they'll all be uniformly lined up if you want, or you can do it the NinjaTrader 7 way, which is, my personal preference, obviously, since you see that in the product. But we will give you the options there with NinjaTrader 8.
Okay. Helder is asking about the data feed support, and I think more accurately he's asking about the database support with NT8 supporting IQ Feed's newly announced millisecond resolution. So you want to go over that one more time?
Sure, no problem. NinjaTrader 8, we support the lowest possible time granularity the Microsoft.NET framework supports, which is called a tick, not to be confused with a price movement of an instrument. I can't remember what the exact representation in terms of time, but it's smaller than a millisecond, it's smaller than a microsecond, it's really damn small. And we will support to that level. Now keep in mind that we can only support the lowest level that the market data provider would give you or give us. So if the market data provider only gives us 1 second resolution, well, we can only save 1 second resolution. Most providers only support 1 second. Kinetic support, or IQ Feed in Kinetic, which is basically what IQ Feed or Kinetic is based off of IQ Feed, does support lower than 1 second. We will support that with NinjaTrader 8.
Okay, and I guess it's worth very quickly also repeating that all of that is going to now also be natively stored using native NinjaTrader tools as part of the database, and you won't need Gomi's tools anymore if you want to do any of that historical stuff.
That's correct.
By the way, Ray, just let me know whenever you need to go. I know we're getting close.
Probably literally 2 minutes, so I've probably got time for a question or two.
Okay, let me skim the list then and see if I can pick the best couple of questions. Okay, and Ray, can we assume that when charting is ready, you're going to come back for another webinar and show us?
Absolutely.
Do you think that that's what's coming next, or you got something else in between?
I haven't even thought about it, so I guess I'll plead innocent just because I haven't thought about that. Okay,
and so guys, there's literally 100 questions here that we're not going to be able to get to. Let me say this in general. So Ray, if people want to talk to you or to NinjaTrader about NinjaTrader 8 or ask questions or make suggestions, what's the best way for them to do that?
That's a good question, Mike, and I know you've always asked me that. Right now, it would really be unproductive to fire in any questions to us regarding what's coming with NinjaTrader 8 because those questions go to our customer service team, and they don't have in-depth knowledge of what's going on. It's literally our development team, product management team, myself, and we're just not available to discuss, or I shouldn't say discuss, but to answer questions regarding NinjaTrader 8 because we get a lot of them and we never get anything done.
Right.
What I would suggest is if you do have suggestions or comments, to fire those in either to support at NinjaTrader.com or our forum. We definitely take that feedback, but any open communication with us, and I don't want to sound like I'm not interested in doing that because I definitely am. It's just not the right time yet for us to do that.
Right. Couple of real quick things. By the way, Mathias looked it up, and C# datetime.tick is equal to 100 nanoseconds for those that care. Michael's asking for confirmation that .NET 4.5, that's the target version, right?
Yes, correct. That's what we're on right now.
Okay, and I don't see any other questions that I could just hammer out in 5 seconds, so I think we're going to call it a day. And once again, I want to thank Ray for taking the time to put everything together and to answer everybody's questions, and of course for giving away those 16 prizes today. There is a thread on BMT for this webinar, and I'll post the recording and whatnot there. And if you guys have questions, you could post them in that thread. I know that Ray, monitors the threads, and I'm sure he'll answer if he can. Otherwise, some other members might be able to answer the questions for you guys.
Hey, thank you very much, Mike, and thanks everybody for allowing me to come in and talk to you guys. And
thanks, Ray.
We'll talk to you soon.
Yeah, good luck with your 10-year dinner tonight. Thanks.
Thanks, appreciate it.
All right, bye.
Goodbye.